Hello and welcome back to the Essex Allotment Farm. My name's Alex. This is the Essex Allotment Farm situated in the Costa del Chelmsford. It's raining again. It's really miserable and really wet. However, I'm going to do a bit of a farm update to try and lift spirits and show you some of the stuff that's sprouted into life over the last week or so. For those who aren't familiar with my channel, I'm the founder of the Essex Allotment Farm, which is a Four Seasons market garden growing organic produce to sell direct to end consumer through veg box services and farmers markets. And this behind me is the farm site. I also do some consultancy on other sites, and I'm documenting one of those journeys as well. But today we're on the farm in this lovely weather. How could we not be here? Let's crack on. I will try and make sure that my mood doesn't match that of the weather. Let's look at some of the positives and some of the stuff that I've got done over the last week or so. Anyway, let's start in the main bulk of the field where I've gone a little bit crazy with bed prep, and I'll show you what I've done so far. So for those of you who are new to my channel, when it comes to bed preparation or bed design, I work in a block system. So last season I grew in 6 blocks. This season's the plan to grow in 8. And in each block there's 12 beds. The beds are 75 centimetres wide, with 30 centimetre paths in between each one, which is pretty market garden standard by today's sort of information that's out there. I find that has worked really well for me so far, and this week I've started right at the bottom end near the tool shed, prepping the beds. So that's weeding, broad forking, and in some cases, which I'll talk to you in a bit more detail in a minute, rototilling, and adding compost to the manure. So my natural soil is a lot darker. I'll spin the camera around and show you in a minute. But this sort of light brown stuff that's on the top here is a mixture of rabbit manure, rabbit bedding, and grass clippings that I've mixed together in the composting system, which you'll have seen before. This is my compost pile. I'm really lucky to get this rabbit manure dropped off. It's mixed with the bedding, and I heat that up using grass clippings and the natural stuff that's in it. It's packed full of worms, and when we get to this stage where it's usable, we take the top layer off that's not composted particularly well, and take from the bottom here where it's really dark, really well rotted, and it's heated up over the summer. This pile has probably been here for over a year now, I would say. So that creates predominantly a no-dig approach, and that's how we prep most of our beds. And you'll have seen that if you watch one of my previous vlogs, which is a how I prep my bed video. Now there are instances where we do use rototiller down here. Again, for those who watched a couple of years ago when I was vlogging, there was an additional composting based system, and we've taken that away. But where it was a composting based system for a couple of years, the ground was really compact, where we'd walked up and down to it thousands and thousands of times, and we'd taken wheelbarrows over there and stuff like that. If I get out of the shot, you can see that we're just in the process of taking that away down the far end there. So we've rototilled this area to give it a fresh start. And yeah, what we do this when we're breaking new ground. So we give ourselves the best opportunity on really clay soil, and then from this point on we'll stick to no-dig principles, and that's how we do the soil. So when we're breaking new ground, we tend to do an initial rototill, and then it won't be rotivated anymore. It'll just have compost, a bed shape, and compost added to it. And like I've said to you guys before, if that makes me not no dig, then so be it. I'm not tribal about it like a lot of people are out there, but I do what's right for my ground. And we're on really heavy clay here, and sometimes it's a needs must situation, but I'm comfortable and confident that I'm adding no chemicals to this. I'm adding lots and lots of organic matter to it over the years. The soil has improved immeasurably since when I first got this farm. So one initial rototill, as long as I'm not consistently re-killing the soil by doing it year and year, won't be an issue. And that's how I justify myself and justify what I do once a season to certain areas of the farm if I'm breaking new ground. I am just taking advantage of the rain, trying to make it work for me, apart from collecting some of the rainwater in areas around the farm. It's a good idea to just chuck the seedlings out, get them some natural water. There's some cuttings and stuff down there, so let me just show you. So we've got some lettuce down the bottom here, kohlrabi, and some mustard greens. They were just looking particularly dry, so I've brought those out of the potting shed and chuck those on this pallet to get some rainwater. And then here are the cuttings again, which you'll have seen from a previous video. So we got some rosemary and some Taunton Dean cow in the back corner over here. The one in between, I'll show you a bit of a close-up. So these are edible bay leaf or bay trees, real babies. And what it was is I saw a pot with about 12 or 13 different stems coming out of it in the garden centre, and I thought, that's free money. It was $3.99, and I managed to split them up and make 12 out of the one pot in the garden centre. So keep your eyes out. It's a little trick for you. They were all sprouting out the base of the pot. It looked like an easy split, and I'm effectively getting 12 bay trees for the price of one. And I'll just spin you around the fruit area, because again, a previous vlog, we were planting and sort of making this new fruit area. I don't do a lot of soft fruit on the farm, or I haven't so far. So this year is the year of soft fruit, and we're making a conscious effort to turn this area under the tarpaulin that I'm stood on and this section back here into a highly productive fruit area. So let me spin you around and just show you some of it that's burst into life. Obviously you can go back if you want to look at more detail about what I'm trying to do with this area into the previous vlog. So in these collars are brand new rhubarb crowns, and like I said, despite the weather, despite everything, we've got sprouts coming out, or rhubarb leaf and rhubarb stalks coming out. In some of these have only been in a week or maybe 10 days, but we seem to have got the planting right. And these are new crowns. And if I sort of whip you over here and go this way, there's another one there. That's beautiful. Here's some of my more established rhubarb. Again, this was only planted last year. It's a later variety, so there's not too much action on it so far. Some people will be harvesting rhubarb already, but I'm not at that stage yet. The contrast's not great, so it might be hard to see, but there are some raspberry canes that I've planted out here, and they go all the way along there and round here. And the plan is to extend that fence all the way down there and have the rest of my raspberry canes planted in the next week or so. Last year's blackcurrant bushes are bursting into life. Let me see if I can get you a view of that. So we've got fresh budding on those, which is good, a good sign. And in this area here, you'll have seen the vlog if you're familiar with my channel, where I moved these nursery beds. The strawberry runners are all have all taken, and they're putting on fresh leaf growth. And these baby trees that I've planted or moved and planted are starting to bud as well. So whilst it's looking very young and it needs to be extended all down this area here, the fruit area on the farm that will become sort of three times the size of this is looking a lot better, and it's taken really well. In the herb and nursery beds, there's no sign of my horseradish yet. I've chucked out some odds here. So these are plants that have come from the other site, the cafe site, and it's like where I've got to the end of a tray. My beds aren't prepped yet, so they can't go here in the extra room I've got. So I've just stuck them in these nursery beds for now, which is where we've taken the herbs and planted them into the main bed. And then these last two, if you're familiar, is where I redid the mint, cut that all back, put a fresh layer of the composted manure on it. And as you can see, the mint's now happily bursting through the surface. These are in a collar, 2 pallet collars, so that they're contained and they don't spread everywhere. Core blimey, it's really coming down now. In these main beds here, we've obviously got the 2 new herb beds. that we're moving plants from the nursery beds into the main beds, and that's where those cuttings will go that you saw that are getting a bit of rainwater. We've planted 2 beds of onions, and we've got 3 beds of garlic, of which it will be 3 beds of garlic when it's all finished out. We're going to do 1 late planting. Anyway, you saw one of the beds earlier, but they're stretched all the way along to keep them nice and dry at the top of the field, because my field cambers slightly down towards the south. Anyway, they're all in the ground, but there's nothing really to see there, so I'm not just going to take you to see muddy soil. I've just jumped back in the tool shed, hiding from the rain again, just to talk to you about a new addition to the farm, which is a worm bin. The first time I've ever, got serious to a certain extent around worm compost or vermicompost or worm castings, whatever you want to call it, and the liquid that comes with that you can use as a really potent natural soil fertilizer. So I've created a sort of large-ish worm bin, not on a farming scale, but it would be large for sort of allotmenting, as a bit of a trial. And if I this season find it productive and worthwhile, then I'll extend that. And that's how I like to do a lot of things on the farm. If it's new, it's something I haven't done before, I like to trial it on a small scale, a bit like the horseradish, see how I get on, see the benefits, see how labour intensive it is, and if it's a success, then I upscale it and put it into production, whatever that might be, on a much larger scale behind me. So yeah, that's how I like to do things here on the farm. I also think that that's kind of an homage to my allotmenting past before I became a commercial grower. I was an allotmenteer, and I guess why my channel is relatable to a few people, because a lot of the stuff I do is on a small scale and then upscale to make it commercial. So yeah, let's go and have a look at this worm bin and see if it's any good, see what you think. I'm completely new to it, so if you think there's something I could be doing different, better, stick it in the comments. I'm not an expert when it comes to worm farming or farming for worm compost, so let me know. All I've done so far is use one of these big 45 litre tubs, and I've drilled a hole in the bottom under here, and used some crates at the bottom to stop the soil going all the way down, so that any liquids and fluids can drain out of it. It's sealed and clipped shut at the sides, and if I open it up, can I do 2 things at once? I'll be able to show you what it is that I'm trying to achieve. So obviously I've put air holes in the top of that lid to make sure that the worms have got plenty of oxygen and air, but it also remains watertight. I've put just a layer of hessian on the top, just to discourage them from climbing up onto the lid, which I've seen a little bit of. This is only 2 days old, so on the top I've just put some food scraps and bits like that, and then obviously further down I've got a layer of the manure, which is where a lot of the worms are, and I've added hundreds and hundreds of worms here, and hoping that they produce over time lots of additional worms, lots of vermicompost, and I collect the water extraction or liquid extraction from the bottom. I've put some wood chips and bits in there just to make sure it's nice and dry, and obviously I want to build, if it's successful, a more permanent frame, so it's easier to get a larger bucket under there to collect the rainwater, maybe look at adding taps to it and stuff like that. But other than that, on a small scale and for trying it out for the first time, I think it could be a bit of a success. Let me know what you think. I suppose in a positive light, the wet weather's enabled me to do stuff like that. I mean, it didn't take long. It only took me a couple of hours to bring the stuff over from the unit and drill the holes, collect the worms, put all that stuff together. But I guess that's 2 hours, if it was glorious sunshine, that I'd have been spending on bed preparation and doing other things, more important things, I guess. And I'm trying to put a positive spin on the amount of weather we've had, but in real terms, it's the wettest January, February we've had in Essex since records began. I know a lot of people are in a worse situation than me, so I'm not going to moan about it too much, but I am trying to create and run a successful veg business here. So I could really do with it cheering up a bit. Yesterday was beautiful. I managed to get down into just a t-shirt while I was doing some of that bed prep. We had lots of glorious sunshine and it felt great, and just a little bit more of that would be fantastic. Anyway, yeah, that's a bit of an update. There's not a great deal going on the farm because of the weather. I appreciate that might be a little bit repetitive, but we'll get more interesting as the season goes on. So thanks for sticking with it. Thanks for watching my videos. And until next time, bye-bye.